UFC Singapore has just wrapped up, so let's go through the entire event, starting at the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving our reaction to every single fight on the card. It's a full event recap. Quick fire time, starting with Rafael Pessoa versus Jeff Hughes. I picked Jeff Hughes to win. I did terribly on the prelims, but it will get better later on. Rafael Pessoa gets the job done. It was a very close fight. Pessoa won it with the knockdown at one point. Very good fight. Pessoa, I'd like to see Pessoa probably fight Todd Duffy next up, who's the guy that recently went to a no contest with Jeff Hughes. Rafael Pessoa, Todd Duffy, makes sense to me. Loma Lookboom beat Alexander Albu, Stitch Albu. I thought Albu was going to win because she's more physically bigger. She's just a bigger girl. She's a stronger girl. I thought she was going to try and use some grappling. Turns out she's fucking terrible. Loma Lookboon won. Very good performance. Very clear victory. Stitch Albu should be cut from the UFC. I don't care how good she looks. Which, by the way, she is a catfish, by the way, because she looks very good on Instagram. In person, she looks like a little fucking golem. She looks weird, okay? Very much a catfish. She should be punished for that. She's 3-2. She's lost 2 UFC fights in a row since her debut. Cut her from the UFC. There's a no-tolerance policy for terrible fighters. She's 3-2. She's lost her last 2. Get her out. I'm sorry, but let her leave. Maurice Greene versus Sergey Pavlovich. Pavlovich gets the quick finish here. I'd like to see him versus Ciryl Gane. I think would be quite interesting, but we'll get to that in a second. So we'll see what happens there. Or I'd like to see Pavlovich versus the winner of either Stefan Struve versus Ben Rothwell, the winner of that one, or the winner of Rosenstruik versus Arlovsky. That makes sense to me. Maurice Greene was looking good at the start, picking him apart with some leg kicks, but Pavlovich just kept cracking him, timing the leg kicks perfectly, cracking him on the chin. Pavlovich hits fucking hard. I picked Maurice Greene to win. Got it wrong. Oh well. The prelims weren't my strong point in this card. Pavlovich gets the job done. I'm glad. I'd like to see him back whenever there's a fight card in Russia. Maybe on the prelims of UFC Fight Night Moscow, or not Fight Night, UFC Moscow, when they're going to do a pay-per-view of Khabib versus Ferguson. You can have Makhachev versus someone else on that card. Makes sense. Makhachev versus Stevie. Makhachev versus Hernandez can be on that card. You can have Sergey Pavlovich versus whoever he wants to fight. Winner of Rosenstruik Arlovsky on that card. Arlovsky would make sense. I'm picking Arlovsky to win. Arlovsky would make sense. He's Eastern European. Russia's around the same area. Makes sense to me. Enrique Barzola versus Movsar Evloev. I picked Evloev to win. I thought he was definitely going to win. It was a closer fight than I thought. Enrique Barzola started to come back at a certain point, and I actually think, I mean, obviously the takedowns from Movsar won him the fight, but in terms of the striking, Enrique Barzola was holding his own. People forget about Barzola, man. He's a tough fucking customer. Coming off a win over Bobby Moffett. It was a risky fight to pick Movsar in, but he remains undefeated. He's a very talented fighter. I like the way his career is going. He's only 25 years old. I don't know who I want to see him fight next. However, there is a list of guys just outside the featherweight rankings that are looking for opponents. Sadiq Youssef, maybe the winner of Hakeem Dawodu versus whoever the fuck he's fighting. I can't quite remember the guy's name. There's a bunch of guys outside featherweight that were looking for a fight. Movsar should get one of them on the Russia card also. Let's start stacking that Russia card with everyone we can from Russia. Let's really build an audience for some of these Russian fighters. Such as, if Yan beats Faber, maybe you do a Yan versus someone on the main card of Russia. That makes sense as well. Alex White versus Rafael Fiziev. I picked Alex White. Yeah, Fiziev just got the job done. Narrowly outstruck him over the rounds. Yeah, good job. Rafael Fiziev, I was wrong again. I don't know who I want to see him fight either. It's a crazy old world. Maybe Fiziev versus Stevie Ray, who shouldn't have won. Randy Marcos versus Ashley Yoda. Split decision. I thought Marcos should have won it. It went to Marcos. Correctly so. Yoda got the takedowns. However, Marcos was able to capitalize on certain things and also just outstrike her narrowly on the feet. I went with Yoda. I saw Marcos getting a win. Either way, yeah. 7-5, 10-7. These aren't UFC records. We have Invicta for a reason. Oh my god, I just can't see it. Like, I hate the fact that I'm sitting here as a hardcore fan, knowing that somewhere in the world a casual is switching the channels, seeing that the UFC is on, and going, oh my god, UFC, isn't this the best fighters in the world? Wonder what these girls' records are. Oh, right. And they're headlining the prelims? What, because Marcos has red hair and tits? Whatever, man. I'm done with it. Whatever. Moving on. Random Marcos gets the win. Good job. I don't even give a fuck who she fights next. Maybe, is it a flyweight? No, it's a strawweight. I don't care, man. I literally don't give a fuck. Muslim Salikhov gets the job done over Laureano Strapoli. Got the job done quite clearly. Just outstruck him every round. Got the takedowns as well. Was beating the shit out of Strapoli in the second round. I thought there was going to be a finish in the second. That's what I called from Salikhov. But Salikhov gets the job done. Another clean win. He's on a bit of a streak himself. I do worry about his age. I do worry about some cardio as well. I feel like if there's a guy that can really put the pressure on him, they may be able to get the win. But he's on a 3-fight win streak at welterweight. I like what I'm seeing from him. He should take on, I believe he called out Li Jingliang, which makes sense. Both guys unranked. Both guys on streaks. Both guys looking to earn their spot or a shot at someone in the top 15. I like the sound of that. Salikhov versus Li Jingliang on the prelims of UFC Moscow when Khabib fights Ferguson. Notice how this is all tying together right now for UFC Moscow. Definitely should happen in the next year. Frank Camacho. Oh, no, wait, we missed one. Missed one of the most important ones. Ciryl Gane versus, and I picked Salikhov to win. Ciryl Gane versus Don'Tale Mayes. I picked Ciryl Gane. I'm on the hype train of this guy, man. He's like a fucking kickboxing Anthony Joshua. I like this guy's style, man. He's just patient with it. He cracks them fucking kicks to the body like no one's fucking business, like Yair Rodriguez style. Perfect technique with everything he does. His submission game is no slouch either. He submitted his last opponent. Now he just submitted Don'Tale Mayes with an ankle. It was... yeah, it was just crazy. I loved it. I loved every second of it. Even though people were saying, boring, should have finished it. I actually liked that he didn't finish it. I liked the fact that we got to learn a lot more about Ciryl Gane with him going the full 3 rounds, not getting tired, and still having the energy to find a finish in the 3rd round with a heel hook. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I love Ciryl Gane, okay? In the most heterosexual way possible. He's a beast. On the UFC schedule, it said Don'Tale Mayes was 6'9", which he just isn't. So, I don't know why it said that, but I just thought Ciryl Gane was going to win this one quite clearly. He's just a full fighter right now. I think he should be taking on maybe the winner of Rozenstruik Arlovski, maybe the winner of Struve versus Rothwell, maybe someone else, maybe even Sergey Pavlovich himself. That also makes sense. There's a lot of options at a heavyweight right now because there's a lot of contenders fighting each other that are on streaks. It makes sense. Or if he wants a gimme fight, maybe we can sacrifice Junior Albini to him and just let Junior Albini die in the octagon. I guess that makes sense. Frank Camacho versus Beneil Dariush. Risky fight to pick Beneil here because he's kind of on a downslope, but I picked Beneil to win by submission. He got the job done by submission. I said the 1st or 2nd round. He managed to do it in the 1st. Just completely outclassed Camacho. Too quick on the feet. Too accurate of the strikes. Didn't get hit very often. Managed to take him down and get the submission real quick, real easy. I don't know who I want to see Beneil Dariush take on next. Maybe a certain someone known as Armand Sarukian would make sense. Beneil's coming off a big win again. Another big win. I believe he won his last fight as well. Armand Sarukian's on a 2-fight win streak, I believe. Dariush versus Sarukian. Makes sense to me. The winner can take on a guy in the top 15. I like it. Let's make that fight happen. I picked Beneil Dariush. He won. Nice job. Frank Camacho. I don't know, man. What's his heritage? Is he Hawaiian? Mariana Islands? Is that Hawaii? I think it's Hawaii. I'm not sure where the fuck this guy's from, but it's somewhere as an islander. I think him versus Yancy Medeiros makes sense at lightweight. I think that makes sense. Yancy Medeiros an islander, Frank Camacho an islander. I'm sure they'll have respect for each other. That makes sense to me. They're both coming off losses. Michael Johnson versus Stevie Ray. Johnson got robbed. I thought he won quite clearly. Even looking at the... Oh, wow. These stats have changed dramatically since I last checked them. Okay. I thought Michael Johnson did enough to edge out the first 2 rounds, personally. I thought it was a bit close, but I thought Michael Johnson won the first 2 rounds. Stevie Ray could have the first. I don't know about that, but I thought Michael Johnson won the first. That's just my opinion. I picked him to win. He lost the 3rd most definitely. It just seems to be whenever he's on the ground with someone. I mean, it kind of makes Khabib not look that good, because every time fucking Michael Johnson's on the ground with someone, he just gets fucked in the arse, like, constantly. And I know Khabib's good, but Jesus Christ, I mean, fucking Darren Elkins did a better job than Khabib. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, Michael Johnson on the ground is just not a fighter. He just shells up. He has no way of getting back to his feet. And you should really be finishing a guy like Stevie Ray coming off KO losses in a row. I don't know, man. But Stevie Ray gets the nod. I think it could have been a draw or a win for Michael Johnson. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Michael Johnson's kind of let me down here. Yeah, Michael Johnson, maybe a match with Edson Barboza. He has a win over Edson Barboza. Barboza's coming off a loss. So is Michael Johnson. Maybe you give him a reward even though he lost, because it wasn't really too clear of a loss. You know what I mean? So maybe a Barboza versus Michael Johnson rematch would make sense. Stevie Ray. Maybe a fight of Alexander Hernandez. Looking for an opponent in the top 15. Stevie Ray versus Alexander Hernandez. And if not, we can maybe find another guy just outside the rankings at lightweight, such as maybe Beneil Dariush even. Stevie Ray versus Beneil Dariush. Stevie Ray versus Arman Tsarukyan. There's a list of guys right now in every division waiting for shots. I like Stevie Ray. Feel like he's going to get the job done over... I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. I don't know. Stevie Ray either does well or he gets KO'd and rocks really quickly. I thought he lost. Whatever. I don't really care. Demian Maia versus Ben Askren. I picked Maia to win. I feel like everyone should have picked Maia to win. Is Askren going to submit Demian Maia? No, because no one is. Okay? Is Askren going to TKO Demian Maia? No. Have you seen Askren's ground and pound game? Unless you give up, which UFC fighters don't do if they're in the top 15, you win and you don't get finished. So that's another thing. I'm going to fart. Is Askren going to KO Maia on the feet? No, he's not going to do that either. So he has one option to win this fight, and as we know, MMA is a game of options. He's not going to do all of those three ways of finishing. He has to win by decision, which was maybe a good game plan, but Askren's cardio isn't phenomenal. Although he does well, he only does well because guys kind of, he can have a breather when he's on top of someone on the ground, but he can't have a breather when he's trying to strike with Demian Maia. So that's another way he can't win. Maia has every option. Can Maia KO Ben Askren? Probably. You know? More likely than Ben Askren KOing Maia on the feet. Can Maia TKO Ben Askren? Yes. Can Maia submit Ben Askren? 100% yes. In my first prediction, I predicted that Maia was going to TKO Askren on the feet. In the live stream that I did the fight companion on, you can go check it right now, I said Maia's going to finish Askren by submission in the third round. He got the job done. I think this was pretty straightforward, guys. Honestly, I feel like people have fallen for the Joe Rogan hype train of Ben Askren. I predicted Masvidal to beat him by first round KO. He did that. I thought that the Lawler fight was going to be tricky for him, but I thought that Askren was going to win. He kind of did. I don't know how you feel about that. Some people are saying he's 0-3. I kind of count the Lawler one as a win because... I don't know, where was Lawler going from there? I don't know, but I don't know. Regardless, he's on a 2-fight loss streak. That much we can agree on, right? He's on a 2-fight loss streak. He shouldn't be in the UFC. He kind of could be. It depends what Askren wants to do. If he wants to retire, he can retire. I'm not sure what he said about the fight yet. Maia shouldn't fight Diego Sanchez because he's unranked and he's outside of the top 25 and he's coming off a loss. So that's a stupid fucking call out. So Maia should fight Santiago Ponzinibbio when he's ready in Brazil. Maia versus Ponzinibbio makes sense. They're both Southern American. Argentina versus Brazil makes a lot of sense to me. Ben Askren, on the other hand, I feel like we're going to see maybe, if he wants to, he didn't take a lot of damage in this fight. He got submitted. If he wants to try and turn around and get back in the win column, Lawler's waiting for an opponent at UFC 245 on the main card. Askren versus Lawler 2 would finish that card completely. And if not, then maybe we do an Askren versus maybe... Mike Perry. I don't know. Unless it's the Lawler fight, I don't really know what Askren's going to do, to be honest with you. If he won this fight, I would have liked to have seen him fight Leon Edwards on the main card of UFC 245. I thought that would be quite interesting. But he lost. So in my opinion, it's the Lawler rematch. Or just call it a day, man. You're old. You're not in your physical prime. Let's be real. You were doing well, but Maia's just always going to catch you on the ground. There's no way out of it. There's a reason why Woodley, Usman, and Covington didn't really want anything to do with the ground game of Demian Maia. And that's because, you know, they don't want to be there. Because they know Maia's in trouble. That's where Maia's dangerous. And when your game plan relies on you taking down Maia and establishing a position at the end of the round, it's not a good game plan to have. You've got to be able to outstrike him clearly and do it for a long amount of time, or you're going to lose. Feels bad, man. I wanted Maia to win because I predicted him, and I knew he was going to win. So I was kind of like, I predicted him. I want him to win because I want to look really cool and smart. Because now I do look really smart because a lot of people were picking Askren because they're on the hype train. But I also wanted Askren to win just for the good of the UFC, because there's a reason. There's a reason why Maia doesn't get any hype and no one talks about his fights. Because if Askren had have got the mic, he would have 100% called out Leon Edwards. Because he's a thinker. He knows Leon Edwards needs a fight. He knows Leon Edwards is ranked above him. He would have 100% called out Leon Edwards. They would have shit-talked each other. It would have made sense. And this is why Maia doesn't get hype behind him. Because he gets on the mic. Main event of a big show with a big finish. A bunch of people are going to be watching him. And who does he call out? Diego Sanchez. Jiu-Jitsu. I want to... Diego Sanchez, call me out. Or Jiu-Jitsu. No one gives a fuck about that fight. It's you versus a top contender. You're ranked. You're in the top 10. You're coming off 2 wins in a row. Diego Sanchez is unranked. Outside of the top 25, I believe. And coming off a loss. So this is why. I think it should be Maia versus Ponzinibbio. Whenever Ponzinibbio decides to fight again. I don't know what's going on with him. I think he's injured again. But if he gets better over time, Maia versus Ponzinibbio in the early part of next year makes sense to me. Goodbye. See you later. Whenever they have a Brazil card, let's make the most of Maia while he's still with us. Goodbye. And who knows, maybe if Maia wins that one against Ponzinibbio, he could get a guy further up the rankings, and maybe he won't even want to retire. Maybe he'll feel like, oh wait, I can get a title shot again. Because remember, as much as people don't know Maia has a win over Masvidal, who's ranked really highly in the division right now. So that's some leeway in terms of calling shots. Maybe if Masvidal loses to Diaz, he can get a Masvidal fight. Who knows what's going to happen, to be honest with you? Who the fuck knows? Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Click that button there. Maia vs Edwards is also okay. I don't care what I watch. See you later.